Hey, good afternoon. My name is Jeff Hutzel. I'm the Chief Cloud Officer at Auditmacs. I'm also your host for Tech Talk. So Tech Talk is a show where we talk about new emerging technologies. We talk about the companies behind it. We talk about some of the exciting people that are involved in that movement. So today we are very lucky and very excited to have Johannes Ullrich. So Johannes is the Dean of Research at the SANS Technical Institute. So Johannes, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. So very excited to have you. So for those viewers that may not be familiar, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the SANS Technical Institute.
Yeah, so at SANS Technology Institute, we are accredited graduate school. We are offering degrees in security engineering. And what we really do is we focus on trying to teach current skills to professionals that have to secure enterprise networks. And as part of this, I'm sort of responsible for the research, as my title implies, as Dean of Research. And we run something called the Internet Storm Center, which is really this collaborative information security sharing community where we have people worldwide really sort of contributing and helping us figure out what are the threats that actually matter right now and how to defend against them.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I can imagine you're in really a unique field. I mean, one, obviously it's in the news all the time now that the field of cybersecurity is something where there's hundreds of thousands of unfilled jobs right now. People are looking for more and more talent. And it's really not something you could have learned 5 years ago or 10 years ago and be an expert today, right? Kind of, as you mentioned, it's a day-to-day thing. You're constantly in research mode. What does that look like today? Just the state of cybersecurity and the pace of change, the pace of those threats. Yeah, how do you deal with that?
There are really sort of two competing forces here at work. In one way, businesses are relying more and more on data. So data quality, the availability of data is really becoming more important. Even businesses like grocery stores or such that really are at their core IT businesses these days. But on the other hand, we have more and more threats against the data availability. Like recently, of course, we have a lot of problems with ransomware. But I would even consider things like the fake news problem, and so being part of this. You having more and more data available with social networks, but how trustworthy is that data? And the same problem that businesses face, sort of considering the trustworthiness of the data they're basing business decisions on, is also your problem trying to sort of make decisions in daily life based on this information. What's trustworthy, what's manipulated, and how do you really ensure the integrity of all that data?
Yeah, I think that's difficult, right? I mean, you see even, from basic consumer apps like the Face app, you see everybody wants to make themselves look old and there's a desire to do something funny, but then you find out, hey, this is a Russian-developed app, and there may be some concerns with that. Or, yesterday in the news, there was a $5 billion fine that Facebook got levied against them from the FTC. So it's definitely that balance of, there's a lot of exciting and fun things you can do in technology, but you have to be vigilant about protecting yourself and just being aware of those solutions. How do you look at that going forward in the future? I mean, there's a lot of great things we're talking about doing now with AI, with IoT on the forefront as well. There's billions of connected devices. How do we address those things and take advantage of the promises that those things hold, but also protect ourselves and our companies and our enterprise environments?
I think a good part of this, of course, is that skill shortage that you mentioned. And of course, the company I work for is working on this. But in addition, AI does hold some promise, at least, to help with that, to at least sort of act as a filter, to sort of take the more mundane jobs in security away from people and really, make them easier to comply with. In general, I think it's all about, keeping things simple, keeping things easy. A lot of business right now, they're probably running into some of these technologies a little bit haphazard and too fast, and not really considering all the complexities they're adding to their networks by, for example, adding cloud, adding AI to their businesses without necessarily having sort of a real thought through business proposition on why they're actually doing that.
Sure, and I think educating their team as well, right? So we're obviously talking about a lot of the technical aspects of it, but there's still the human aspect of, should I click on this? Should I download this? Can I go to this site? Definitely is in play there as well. So I know you're passionate about subject. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say, pretty much the number one threat right now is that one user network clicking on an attachment, opening it, and causing millions of dollars of damage. We have seen this over and over with like these recent ransomware infections and such. So really, in the end, it comes down to people.
Sure. I think a lot of businesses assume, well, it's only Hilton, it's only Yahoo that gets attacked in these things. But I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of what, 50% of small businesses are part of those attacks today.
Yeah, and they're making the news, the big ones. But I just learned actually about some law firm here in town in Jacksonville that had ransomware infections. It's really not easy to defend against them, in particular for the small businesses, of course, because they don't have the manpower to sort of invest into actually securing their systems on an ongoing basis and really keeping up with this. And that's sort of where we try to help a little bit here within at Storm Center in making that information available, making it a little bit easier, hopefully, for people to sort of stay up to date when it comes to the most recent security threats and how to defend against them.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff. I mean, it's certainly a fast-paced industry. It's an extremely important and valuable industry. You can see from the number of opportunities that are out there today. So we're looking forward to hearing more from you. And obviously, coming up on August 21st, the TIAA Bank Stadium, you'll be speaking at the TechCoast Conference?
TechCoast Conference. Yeah, at the TechCoast Conference. And I'll talk a little bit about Internet Storm Center, what we're doing, and also what some of the trends are that we are seeing. It's important to keep an eye on, like I said, what are actually the big threats that you have to focus on. So you're not wasting a lot of time and money on threats that maybe hyped somewhat, that are in news a lot, but not necessarily the threats that you really have to worry about that are most likely going to harm you.
That's great. Well, I know we're excited to learn and hear more about you. I'll be in attendance for your speech out there at the Tech Coast Conference.
Thanks.
Where else can folks find you? I know you have a podcast as well.
Yeah, the website isc.sans.edu. That's where we publish sort of daily news, and you'll also be able to find my podcast there. The podcast is sort of a 5-minute summary of daily security news, particularly targeting people that are sort of in the business that have to sort of defend against those threats on a daily basis. And my goal is sort of to make people a little bit smarter when they come in the office in the morning.
That's great. That's great. Well, Johannes, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. Like I said, we're looking forward to your speech at the Tech Coast Conference, and looking forward to more exciting stuff from you here in the future.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Have a great day, and thank you guys for joining us here on Tech Talk. We'll see you next time.